TV, a broader perspective.
Hello and welcome to The Agenda. The Agenda, that program that gives you a grasp of informative, educative and entertaining content while guiding you to follow the latest developments in the society. It's about politics, it's about current affairs. What is happening around you? You need to be updated. What's on the agenda for us today? On the agenda today, we want to look at one sector that is very, very essential. When you want to talk about the basic needs, you mention one sector that you cannot avoid. You talk about shelter. A man must have a roof over his or her head. So today, on the agenda, we want to look at urban growth and housing challenges. If you're living in the Federal Capital Territory and other big cities in the country, you will notice that there's a lot of issues revolving around housing, and it has spread to other small states. Now everybody's competing with Abuja. You cannot get a real self-contained for maybe 400,000. You must talk in millions. Just a self-contained, a one room. Let me explain. A one room, toilet and kitchen. But you have to pay that amount because you want to live. Maybe your work has taken you to that place and you want to get a roof on your head. So it has posed a lot of challenges on the residents, people that have no other option than to live there, even the owners of the place. So today on this program, we want to analyze those issues and see what could be the challenge. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we are going to kickstart this conversation. My name is Blessing Ambrose, and I welcome you to the program. Urbanization in Nigeria has surged dramatically over the past few decades, fundamentally transforming the country's demographic landscape. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's urban population has jumped from approximately 25% in 1990 to over 50% in 2020, with projections suggesting this figure could reach 70% by 2050.
Now we have more demand than supply. So people asking for housing and demanding for rent, is more than people that, the houses that are available. So there's shortage of availability of affordable housing.
This rapid urban growth isn't just a statistical phenomenon. It's reshaping social, economic and environmental dynamics across the nation. One of the primary drivers of urbanization is rural to urban migration. As individuals seek better opportunities and living conditions, cities like Lagos, Abuja and Port Harcourt have become magnets, drawing people from various regions. The demographic shift is evident. Urban areas are not only expanding in size, but also in diversity as different ethnic groups converge for economic prospects. Moreover, urbanization is closely tied to economic growth, with urban centers contributing considerably to Nigeria's GDP. In 2020, urban areas accounted for over 80% of the national GDP, underscoring their importance as economic hubs. However, this rapid growth also presents challenges. Urban infrastructure often struggles to keep pace, leading to issues like overcrowding, inadequate housing, and strained public services. As urban migration patterns continue to reshape Nigeria's city, the strain on infrastructure has become increasingly apparent, with the population of urban areas projected to reach 60% by 2030. Our cities are grappling with the challenges of accommodating this rapid growth.
It is ironic that at a time when Nigerians are facing the heat, after the removal of subsidies, when every landlord has decided to triple, not just double their house rent, in most instances, the cost of, paying house rent is equal to the cost of the person's salary, if not more. I think government should step in and regulate house rent. There should be a ceiling on how much one should pay for particular types of houses. I know one would say these houses were built by individuals, but yes, that's why we have a government, that's why we have a system in place. This will help the common man to be able to keep a roof over their head and, of course, reduce corruption, because people are forced to go, the extra mile to do things they shouldn't do when they have to face this high cost of housing.
There are no regulations for both the landlords. There are no pricing regulations. So you see different, especially in the city of Abuja, you see different prices. You see some houses are going for as much as 100 million for a rent. Some you see 50 million for a rent in a year. And then if you go to even the, the low cost area, maybe in the areas around Lugbe, Maraba, now a 2-bedroom flat is about 1 point something million, 2 million naira. And when you're looking at the minimum wage in this country and how much people are taking home as their basic salary, you can imagine that they will not be able to afford that kind of housing.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, urban areas are witnessing a growth rate of approximately 5.4% annually, outpacing the development of essential infrastructure. One major impact of this urbanization on infrastructure is seen in transportation systems. Many cities, particularly Lagos and Abuja, are experiencing severe traffic congestion, leading to increased travel times and economic inefficiencies. In Lagos alone, it is estimated that traffic jams cost the economy around $1.5 billion annually. Additionally, public transportation options remain limited, forcing many to rely on informal methods that are often overcrowded and unsafe. Water supply and sanitation facilities also face significant pressure due to urban migration. The World Health Organization indicates that only 50% of urban dwellers have access to improved sanitation facilities. This lack of adequate infrastructure not only affects public health, but can also exacerbate social inequalities as lower income opportunities often bear the brunt of inadequate services. Utilities like electricity are not exempted from this trend either. The World Bank reports that Nigeria suffers from one of the lowest electricity access rates globally, with rural areas faring worse. As urban population dwindle, the demand for reliable electricity further complicates an already fragile infrastructure system. How does rapid urbanization outpace the supply of adequate affordable housing? What long-term land use planning strategy can be implemented to manage urban expansion effectively and meet future housing needs? What are the effective strategies for promoting affordable housing development and improving living conditions in urban areas?
I have been in Abuja for quite a while, over 25 years. For people to have lived here for so long and they are being expected, to pay so much for just a 2-bedroom flat. Someone called me the other day that he had to pay, upward of about 4.5 million. Apart from looking into rentals, government should also begin to consider building low-cost houses, for people. Instead of having shanties all over the outskirts of Abuja, where criminals, you now start creating space for criminals to breed.
Housing is, in my opinion, becoming a real challenge in Abuja right now because of the high cost, and then every year the landlords are increasing the rents. People are complaining because those rents are not incommensurate with the income of people, and I feel government needs to step in to first of all provide low accommodation and housing, make it available for people, because housing is essential for our survival. And again, for the landlords, I believe they have an association. If they can look into the issue to see how agents will not be putting exorbitant prices on extra charges, on percentages and all of that, so that people will be able to have decent housing over their families.
How much do people earn as a civil servant, and then how much is these houses in Abuja? It doesn't really correlate, and that's the major reason why you see most workers in Abuja lives in Nasarawa State. That's one of the biggest challenges, and not just living in maybe outskirts of Abuja, like let's say the Niger, Nasarawa, leaving their homes early hours of the morning endangers them. You understand? Like for me, I work in Abuja, but I cannot afford to pay house rent in Abuja. So I had to leave outskirts of Abuja. So it then means if I need to be in the office at 8 o'clock, I need to leave my house by 5 a.m. And as a woman, and I'm leaving my home by 5 a.m., my house by 5 a.m., I can be endangered. There's no security. The insecurity is there. And nobody will be accountable for my security because of the fact I'm staying. Nobody sent me to stay in farther than where I work.
Beam TV, a broader perspective.
You're welcome back. I know while you were watching that, you might think that you have your own opinion, you have what to say. There's a number displayed on your screen now. You can send your comments to the number there and we will attend to that. So in case you're just joining us, this is the agenda coming to you from Beam Television. And today's focus is on the urban growth and housing challenges in the country, across the country. So we have in the studio today people that will be telling us they are in the industry, they know what is obtainable, what are the causes of this. Mr. Seyi Kayode, he is a director of sales and marketing at Adron Homes and Properties. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
And next to Seyi, Seyi is a beautiful lady. When you see, they say that is a male-dominated environment, but women are penetrating. Women are now the CEOs. Women are now the owners of some companies in the housing sector. She is Mrs. Okaha Ogechi, the CEO of Jasmine Homes and Properties. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
How's it been?
It's been good.
Okay.
It's been good. Like you mentioned, women we are gradually taking over. So for the women
Please don't
to
say you are taking over before men start attacking you.
please don't attack me.
No, I won't. It's
So,
a wide world, so
Yes. The industry is big enough to accommodate both the men and the women. So so far so good. It's been good. It's been very, very good.
All right, let me come back to Seyi. Our focus for this week is urban growth and housing challenges. In every city, there's something that takes people out of the place, and then even bring some persons into the place. And looking at Abuja today, which we are broadcasting from, you'll notice that Abuja is growing by the day. This is Abuja that you can get a self-contained at 400,000, 300,000, even as low as 200,000 in some major places. But today, the story is different. Can you tell us what is going on in the housing sector?
Okay, so in the housing sector, what is going on is that the smart ones are making more money, while reaping of so many people that just want to put something over their roof. They don't care what you use in building that house. They don't care how it comes. They just want to have something for themselves, regardless of the location, and it's conducive and accessible for them. So for the part of Abuja growing rapid, I think the whole rapid growth started in 2011 when a news came out that over 100,000 people comes into Abuja every day. And when they come, they don't go back. So when they come, where do they stay? They have to stay back. So they will need a space, they will need a place to put their head. And that gives birth to us having so many real estate companies now in Abuja. I think Abuja is home of real estate in Nigeria as far as I'm concerned. Currently, we have over 400 real estate companies in Abuja as we speak. I don't think there's any state in Nigeria or even in Africa that have that number of real estate companies. So everybody is now going to real estate. I can wake up tomorrow and say, I have just one small shop. I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. Then I started selling high house for people just because I know that house is a necessity for everyone. And there is something that we always mix, and that is where the urbanization of rural areas comes in. It's the English called housing.
Okay.
So having a house is different from having housing in general. Housing comprises of the commercial aspect of living, the community living, the good infrastructures, the ambience and accessibility. Housing is what gives you peace. That's what people call home. Okay. So that's just the basic difference. And I think people are now getting up to the idea of I need to stay in a place that is conducive and okay for me. And those things doesn't come cheap. Even though we know we have some greedy people that have monopolized it and make it look like it's not affordable, even though we know that it should be affordable.
Okay.
So those are the things that, for now, we think we are facing with housing in Abuja.
All right, let me come to Ogechi. Looking at the urban drift, people are moving in gradually, like Sheyi just established that 10,000 persons troop into Abuja on a daily basis. 10,000. So for 10 days, that's 100,000. For 30 days, that's 300,000. We have 300,000 people coming into Abuja. And they don't go. So nobody leaves Abuja, everybody comes in here. What are the impacts on housing?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say urban growth. You know, if let me start by explaining what urban growth is. Situation whereby a city or a town is expanding, and of course due to increase in population, you know, people are migrating to a certain area. Why? What are the key drivers of this migration? People are moving to these areas maybe because they want to find better jobs, they want to have access to better, you know, services, you know, opportunities, you know, commercialization, industrializations, and the rest. And the truth is that, you know, when a city starts growing, when a city is increasing in population, and the number of houses you have is not able to accommodate these people, it comes with its negative and positive impact. Okay, let me start with the positive impact, because of course there is an advantage and a disadvantage. The positive impact of this growth, this urban growth, of course, it brings about you know, innovations, you know, people are open to, you know, better facilities, infrastructures, health services, education, good roads, and the rest, you know, the negative for me, it's actually the aspect where I'm a bit concerned. People become homeless, the crime rate increases, you know, and, you know, so many other things and all that, you know. So urban growth for me, of course, it comes with advantage and it also comes with disadvantage. The disadvantage is actually one of the reasons I think why we're having this conversation now.
Looking at all these factors about people migrating, and then like she established that at some point you might not, some persons are left homeless, some persons, you see some persons building anyhow. How can urban planning be enhanced so that we still have, this is FCT, let's take FCT for instance, we can still have a coordinated environment here.
Okay, so I want to say something. The first question is, why are people moving? That's the first thing. People are moving because of everybody's looking for greener pasture. I need to make it in life. I need to step up my life.
You need to be close to
I need
government.
to be close to government. Not even government, I say. But because I have it in my head as a small boy that if you want to make it in Nigeria, just go to Abuja.
Okay.
So, same thing is the story of so many Nigerians. Once they see that there's nothing happening with me here, they had a story that if you go to Abuja and there's national cake everywhere. The only thing we can do is, one, government should put control
Of people
coming in.
Okay.
That's, you cannot provide house for everybody.
Okay.
We can't wake up and develop the whole area as they go. And speaking on the economy of the country currently, the first thing we need to do is to put set some level of control to the number of people that comes in.
So
and
how
stays to do
will
business.
government do that?
This will be me shooting shots to my fellow Nigerians.
They should.
But if you really want, like, I'll use Washington as an example. If you're going to Washington, there are some things that you need to present to stay there in Washington. Like, I remember some years ago in 2013, there was this card in Lagos. If you don't have that card, they will move you out of Lagos. And everybody that wants to stay in Lagos was forced to have that card. There must be an identity that shows that, yes, you are coming to Abuja because you have something that is bringing you.
You're not
because
you are
coming to become a liability.
So do you mean that they should face out all the liabilities that we have here already?
First, even though you will still accommodate them later. But firstly, solve the problem of, she said a lot. When there is crime, it affects security. When I got to Abuja, So people should not just say I'm going there to say I want to go and look for greener pasture without having anything to do. Now when they get there, they see that it's not like the way they were being told. Like I remember back then they told us if you go to Abuja, there is money on the floor, just go there, you'll be picking it. So when you now come in, there is no money. What do you resort to? Resort to another thing. So there should be some level of control from the government to the kind of people that will be staying in Abuja. Okay. Firstly, from there, when you now stabilize things, you can now provide accessible and accommodating plan, maybe out an area like the way they do now. They are allocated. They want to start a real estate business in a place now, or they want to allocate to real estate firms. They move the locals there to another location. You can do all of that for people that you want to accommodate. Maybe there's an engagement for people to come in. There's an initiative to help some low-income Nigerians. Then you can now bring them in.
Okay, let me come to you.
I also, just to add to what he has said, policies, there are some policies that can actually help. Policies whereby both the privates and the governments, they come into partnership and build low-cost houses. Because one of the reasons why, you find people, homeless, living in the shanties and the rest, they cannot. The truth is that whether we want to believe it or not, accommodation is very expensive in Abuja. Cost of living is expensive in Abuja. Standard of living is very, very expensive. And you cannot say because these things are very expensive. The truth is that people migrating from their rural areas coming to Abuja, I don't think anybody is leaving his place or his village or anywhere coming to Abuja to come and just sit idle. People have it at the back of their mind that if they come to Abuja, they will work, and of course they will be able to, pay their bills, their houses, and of course, life happens. You're not able to do that. But at least if you have these policies that can actually help to cushion the effects of the cost of living, I think it will help. I saw on the news or on social media where they said Wike is planning to, demolish all those shanties, send people away. Those people living in the shanties in the slum that is planning to. I don't know how to.
No, but I think they started doing that already now.
Yes, I saw that. The truth is that, when you go to the shanties, people living in these shanties are people that were not able to afford the normal the house, the ones we even call decent and cheap. They cannot avoid it. And by the time these places are demolished, by the time you send these people away from there, where would they go to? Some of them will have to go back. So it is also a form of regulation. I'm not saying that everybody living in the shanty, they are not supposed to be here. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, that everybody living in the shanty that they are criminals and
No, there are some that don't.
That there are some that don't. They do their legit. They go out in the morning and then they come back to that place where they think is their roof. But somehow, if we have regulations to this, things like they said demolition the shanties, I think somehow it will curb, it will help us curb this, influx and all that. And then I think we should also have a regulating body. I hear some people saying, if you're moving into a house, you have to pay me 2 years or 3 years, and so as if we have a regulating body that regulates, like we're talking about the agents, or the homeowners, in fact there was a time it was a topic on social media. People were saying, now you build house for me, go tell me how much I go put on my house. I know, when people have this mentality that if I build my house, I'm supposed to, whatever I have spent in building that house, I'm supposed to recover it in the next 1 year or 2 years. That's, mentality is actually very wrong. It is actually what is also putting us in this situation.
All right, Eshe, you notice that ever since fuel increased, a lot of things went up, and then all of a sudden, housing, offices, properties suddenly go up as well. And then somebody will tell you, you see everything has changed, and then you are asking yourself, if it is a new house, it's quite understandable. But the old one that nothing is being done again, you are not building a new house.
You are even the one trying to maintain the house.
Yeah, you are the one maintaining the house. What are the determining factor to put a cost to?
Okay, so two things I would say, which I think we've seen in 2 states now, which is Lagos and Enugu, is that policies, just like she said. Now in Lagos, if you're an agent, you must register with the government.
Okay.
If you're a landlord, you must register with the government. I think same thing is happening in Enugu now. And I think the Minister of FCT is also planning to do such a thing. So when you have that, the government is already trying to regulate how much people are going to be paying based on the location of your building. And secondly, we should encourage the Western world idea of rent. They don't pay rent yearly, they pay monthly.
But in Nigeria, they'll tell you to pay.
They pay 2 years, to pay 3 years.
They tell you to pay 2 years and 3 years, and you are like, assuming you move out, and then it's on the agreement you've paid, and when they want to give you agreement, they'll bind you to that what you have paid. You cannot sublet, you cannot give it out to another person, and then you know that you might not stay for that 2 years or 3 years, and then you have to move. What happens?
That's the thing.
And when you move, there's no refund.
There's no refund.
Yes, that's where as I said, we should imbibe the culture of the Western world of paying monthly. Because now, when I'm already locked in because I signed a document that says I'm paying for 2 years, I cannot do anything, I cannot this, I cannot that. That one, you're already handicapped. It's like you're in a locked cage. So you have to do everything that the landlord wants or the landlord says.
Ogechi, in all of this, what's the role of the private sector? Because governments, in every sector, if private firms do not come in, governments cannot do it. So what's the role? What are the roles of the private sector to cope this housing challenge we have?
Okay, like I said, let's still use Abuja as a case study. Abuja is a place where real estate is really thriving. You know, like Mr. Sheyi said, we have a lot of real estate firms. You know, why do we have these real estate firms? Because, you know, it has been established that these real estate companies or these real estate developers, you know, have come to that realization that, you know, we have more people in Abuja and we need to build more houses. And who are the ones building these houses? These are private sectors. You know, I cannot count how many houses in this Abuja that you can say it is owned, except for, you know, people that are working in some parastatals that, you know, have. But 80% of the houses here in Abuja, estates, whether they are estate, not that these houses are built by the private sectors. You know. Yes, 1995. And then when you also look at most of the people that are employed here in Abuja, you could see that they are employed in private sectors, because the truth is one of the reasons why people also move from rural areas to urban areas is to get jobs, good jobs and all that. And it is the private sector that is, you know, coming up with this, you know, industries, building shopping malls, complexes, offices, and the rest, where people, when they move into a particular location, at least they have something to do, at least, you know, to give them that money to help them pay their bills. So if you ask me, I'll tell you that when it comes to this housing and urban growth, the private sectors, they are doing so much. When they are bringing their expertise, they are bringing the capital, they are bringing almost everything, especially areas where the government is not able to meet up. Yes. So
okay. All right. So looking at all these challenges and what people are going through, we say very soon, Abuja, there will be no space again in Abuja. What should we do, at least to manage the people that are here and also prepare for the future of those that are yet to come?
So there will always be space in Abuja. It's just a matter of choice. Everybody wants to live in Maitama, Gariki, Wuse, but everybody cannot live in those areas.
In those areas, yes.
So people need to wake up to the idea that they can get what they want in Karishi, in Kuje, in Gwagwalada. You understand?
Even better.
So they can even get it in Abaji.
Yes.
That's how funny it is. They can get it in Kwale. It's as far as that. So, and it's just a matter of...
Persons will say it's like leaving your village to another village.
No, it's not village. That's the mentality that people need to change. When we talk about, we spoke about real estate there. I said, there's no people having a house and the housing in whole. That's where real estate comes in, just like you said. And if you notice in our speech, as I'm speaking about the partnership with government a lot. If we really want real estate business to thrive in Abuja, to a very large scale and accommodate everybody, the government must partner with private sector.
Private sector.
They must. It's a must. And when you are partnering, don't make it too selfish. Because before there was NHF, there was fish. There's a project they call fish there with the government. And where are these? NHF is still there, fish is still there, but are people really using these platforms? No. That's the truth.
Okay.
Because the funds doesn't come to developers anymore. You have to be sorting to get these things done. Sorry if I'm shooting shots, but that's the reality of things. When people are not doing things the right way, it affects business generally. You said Nigeria looks like a system that doesn't have a structure. Nigeria is a well-planned state, but people that are in some kind of positions are not following those things because of their own selfish gain.
Okay.
And those things needs to change. If we get those things corrected, definitely we will solve all of these things. And people's mentality of I must live very close to where I'm working should change also.
Okay.
Be ready to pay transport and live in a very good environment.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, just to add, another thing, I think it's the mentality we have here in Nigeria, with the kind of mentality people have. Like you said, people believing that they are moving from their village to another village. What is urban growth about? It's about expansion, moving from boundary, extending the boundary. For example, I used to tell people, as at like you mentioned, as at 2008, 2009, Lugbe. If you give me a property to buy in Lugbe, I will not buy. In fact, I remember one of those days, my husband came to Abuja early. Somebody took him to Lugbe. He said, no. When will developments come to this place? Within a short period of time. See, you can't even afford to buy some properties now in Lugbe. And we used to tell people that, for me, my slogan is that the cities you see today, we are once bushes, If you move to Kuje, if you're in Kuje, if you're in Karishi, and you actually believe that, okay, as long as it's FCT, infrastructure will definitely come.
Yes.
When people now understand that, okay, let me stay in this area, just like you said, everybody cannot stay in Metam, everybody cannot stay in Asokoro, but you have the Kuje, you have the Karishi and all that, and people are staying in these places, believing that the infrastructure will come, which I know will come. I think it also helps. And see what is happening in Abuja today. All these places are opening up. See Karishi. Karishi is one of the hottest locations now in Abuja. As at 2-3 years ago, nobody wants to buy Karishi. As at 2-3 years ago, I remember those times we were telling people buy Kuje. In fact, most times when you say Kuje, Kuje, no. But with the infrastructure in Kuje, everybody is running to Kuje. See Gwagwalada. Of course, everybody believes that Gwagwalada is outskirts of Abuja. But see what is happening in Gwagwalada. So let me tell you, Abuja will accommodate people. As somebody said, Abuja, we've not even started selling Abuja.
What should we do to cope these housing challenges that we have in the country? Let's start with Shay.
One, like we said earlier, is for the government to put some level of control to the number of people that comes in. Don't chase anybody out though, because people are already established themselves here already.
So how about the people that are
warming up to come to Abuja? Not blocking, but they must have a reason to come. And their reason should not be, I'm coming to look for greener pasture. No. Leave greener pasture now. Greener pasture is everywhere in this country. But let it be, maybe you're coming for visiting, or you're coming for work. Work is bringing you down. There's a work waiting for you already. Even if it is just to sell pure water, at least it's something that is bringing you down here. There must be a reason for you to enter Abuja. And two, government should partner with private sector. That's it though. There are so many real estate companies that have fantastic innovations in terms of building. They have true intention of building low cost housing and still makes it to look nice for the low income and middle class, because I don't even think there's 1% again. Everybody is middle class now. I think the highest you can get in this country now is middle class, then low income earners. Because even if somebody said if people that are rich, they said they are all crying now. So all of us, we are broke. So they should partner with private sector so that all of this housing can be. There is something that is cheap, but affordability is when it is easy for me to pay. When it is easy for me to pay, and there is no real estate developer that wants to tie their money on housing down for long. Government can withstand the test of time, but as a company, your money cannot be kept down for long. Your business will fold.
Yeah.
So, but when you know that you are being funded, like I think Ministry of Finance is doing something that's supporting some real estate companies that have approached them and they've confirmed that they are legit. So if you have clients, you can bring them on board. They enroll them. They fulfill all obligations. Then you can buy.
Okay. So let's hear your recommendation.
Okay. I think another thing that is very important, one of the things I recommend is infrastructures in other states, not just Abuja. The truth is that, like I said, one of the reasons why people want to move from a particular place to another place is because they think this place have better infrastructure, they have better healthcare system, they can access better services. You know, so when we put these things in place in other states, okay, for example, see what is happening in Aba. See Aba 3 years before now. People ran away from Aba, even investors ran away from Aba. But now people are running back to Aba. You know, in fact, everybody is now asking, okay, do you have property in Aba? I want to buy land in Aba, I want to buy land. So why is that? Because the infrastructure in Aba is, you know, bringing in people into Aba. See, the truth is that when people are distributed, you know, you won't have influx or overpopulation or crowding in a particular place. People are running into Abuja because everybody believes Abuja is where it is happening. If it is happening in other states, people won't have reasons to come to this other state and really crowd a particular area or state another. So, for me, if when you bring in infrastructure, distribute these things to other states where everybody living in this other place can, you know, have better access to, you know, good living, water, everything, good road, and all that. You know, it will go a long way. It will help.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sheikha Yode, the Director of Sales and Marketing, Adrian Homes and Property.
Thank you.
And also Mrs. Okaha Hope, the CEO of Jasmine Luxury Homes and Property. Thank you so much, and I believe that whatsoever you have recommended, you are going to implement that in your different sector, so that we can cope this challenge of housing in the country, especially in FCT, which you are resident. So that's the size of our package. We are going to bring you more details on the housing challenges that we have in the country. And if you have spotted any challenge, please do well to reach out to us, because we are going to bring in other stakeholders to also let us know the legal implication if you go against this or if you do this which you are not supposed to do in the housing sector. So thank you so much for being part of this program. Let's do it again, same time, same station. My name is still Blessing Ambrose.
Seeking the right house in the right location and the right amount, because you value some environment and you're like, why is the housing of this, you know, of this quality this expensive? But yet things like, oh, it is in a strategic location, it's close to the road, is this, but still I don't see it as a justifiable reason, you know, why houses should be expensive.
It should be strategies where people can begin to own houses easily without having to pay a lot. So there's a lot of regulatory work that needs to be done. There's a lot of monitoring work that needs to be done. There's also a lot that has to do with the pricing. And when you call yourself a real estate developer, what's your qualification? Is it being implemented? I know there are guidelines around that, but we are not monitoring how this is being done. You understand? So please, it's a call of action, a call for action that we need to take to reduce the number of people that do not have houses. Some people are living in uncompleted houses because they cannot afford the rent. You understand? There's actually a drought of affordable housing in Nigeria, and our population is growing by the day. So we need to declare the state of emergency. I like to say that we need to declare the state of. In fact, every aspect needs to be declared the state of emergency. The government needs to invest into low-cost housing for people to be able to afford their rent without having to pay, robustly from. I don't know how a young youth couple will be able to afford 1 million naira rent when you're collecting how much from a federal government for rent.
FCT administration, the federal government, and even the private sector should begin to look at, building for the people. We need to have good accommodation, at a very low cost, for Nigerians.
The government look into it and then see how they can do have some regulations on the pricing and have a low pricing, and not just the government, the estate management and all of that, the housing committees and all should also sit down, set a committee, and then see how they can come into this matter to see that everyone can afford a place in.
I think government should step in and regulate house rent. There should be a ceiling on how much one should pay for particular types of houses. I know one would say these houses were built by individuals, but yes, that's why we have a government, that's why we have a system in place.
We need more young people as MDs, as CEOs, as DGs.
With what we are experiencing now, that we have a better education.
If only guarantees political stability, then we have the best governance of environment in Nigeria.
If you have a solution, you will be engaging with people who are major decision makers.
But I believe when you coexist, your own is my own and my own is your own. The office of the president should not be kept alone with those political parties.
Politics is constant struggle for power. The end justify the means.
Develop attitude of integrity.
At what age is a youth emotionally, intellectually fit to vie for a political post in Nigeria?
You are only young once. And if you work it right, once is enough.
If you are in that office, to be able to deliver on the expectations of that office.
You cannot be effective as a leader without leadership.
The Agenda.
Giving the masses a grasp of informative, educative, and entertaining updates on current issues while guiding them to follow the latest development in the society. Beam TV, a broader perspective.